What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including bad news as Liv Morgan is legitimately injured. Her injury has caused a number of plans to be cancelled. Rhea Ripley breaks character to address Liv Morgan's injury. WWE are refusing to bring back a former champion. A WWE star is receiving a major push. Carlito says Triple H was never a fan of his character, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. As always, we won't recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good, as number 1, Io Sky opens up the show. Now at last, WWE remembered that Io Sky is the Women's World Champion. Sky would interrupt Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio to kick off the show, and it was a nice change of pace, and the fans were utterly delighted to see Sky back on television in a meaningful role. Whilst it did look like WWE will be building towards a new program between Sky and Liv Morgan due to an apparent injury to Morgan, sadly these plans will have to be halted for the foreseeable future. Number 2, Graves is back. Due to Pat McAfee's absence on Raw, Corey Graves received the nod on color commentary duties. As always, Graves did a stellar job in the role, and Graves continues to be one of the most underrated commentators in all of wrestling. He's received praise over the past 12 months for being able to adapt to any role on the commentary table, and it's likely that Graves returns to the Raw commentary role full-time when McAfee takes another extended leave of absence from WWE. Number 3, Asuka returns. Now at long last, Asuka is back. Asuka returned in the latest Fatal 4-Way and managed to advance to the next round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Asuka would receive a huge ovation from the crowd, and whilst it was widely believed that Stephanie VACATE would be pushed into the finals of the tournament, WWE evidently believed that pushing returning Asuka is definitely the right call at this time. It's also cool to think that Asuka is now returning in her 21st year of pro wrestling. Asuka would make a wrestling debut all the way back in 2004. What a way to kick off the 21st year. Number 4, Goldberg vs Gunther. Now it's the worst kept secret in WWE, but Goldberg is officially back. Goldberg would return on Raw last night to formally challenge Gunther for the world title, and the match is now confirmed for Saturday night's main event in what is expected to be Goldberg's final ever matchup. Whilst the segment was short and sweet, some fans have been critical, as Goldberg suddenly being number 1 contender for the world title despite not even winning a match in years doesn't even make a ton of sense. It would be appreciated for WWE to offer some kind of explanation as to why Goldberg just came in and receives a fast track to the world title. I guess if you're a WWE legend, you're instantly number 1 contender. That's not the way it should work. Number 5, the Women's IC title shines. The WWE continues to do a stellar job with the presentation of the Women's Intercontinental title. Bayley would cut a passionate babyface promo on the show last night that was perhaps her strongest promo in some time. WWE have the chance to make the Bayley vs Becky Lynch feud truly special. Yes, they're definitely on the right track. WWE would also deliver a backstage segment between Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and it was explained that Bayley hadn't been returning Valkyria's text messages. It's great to see that WWE are keeping Valkyria in the mix, as her work with the Women's Intercontinental title was stellar, and she deserves to maintain a prominent fixture on Raw, and a chaotic main event. Raw was main evented by a chaotic Fatal 4-Way between Jey Uso, Sheamus, Rusev, and Bronson Reed. The match was an excellent way to end the show, and as expected, main event Jey advanced in the next round of the King of the Ring tournament. Once Jey picked up the W, Mr. Money in the Bank Seth Rollins would interrupt and look to set his sights on a prone Uso. However, in an unexpected twist, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes would make the save for his friend, and in a fantastic act of continuity, Rollins refused to get physical with Rhodes and instead decided to leave the ring. That was good. What about the bad is number 1, the tag division. Our Raw's tag division continues to be a major flaw on the show. The New Day would cut a promo during the commercials to state that nobody was worthy of challenging them. It does look like they planted the seeds for a New Day vs Usos feud, and this is mainly based on New Day's social media antics, and this would be a positive step forward for the tag division. However, is it enough to reignite it? There was nothing downright ugly on this week's show, as the show was well paced and managed to build all the top storylines on the show. It would have been nice to see either CM Punk or John Cena on the show, but the surprise appearance from Cody Rhodes more than made up for a lack of star power when it came to the major names. What did you guys think of Raw last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the news. Now first story looks at Liv Morgan legitimately injured. Now our top story today takes a look at the latest when it comes to Liv Morgan's injury. Last night on Raw, Morgan was wrestling Kairi Sane when just minutes in, the match was called off. Morgan had an awkward landing and she looked to be in immense pain. It's believed that Morgan suffered a separated shoulder, which is sadly one of the more frequent injuries that occur in the squared circle. A PW insider is reporting that the injury is totally legitimate and isn't being used to write Morgan off television for an outside project. It's 100% a legitimate injury. For those who've asked with conspiracy theories that this was a way to write her out for an outside project, no it was not. Morgan was checked out by WWE medical personnel as soon as she was brought backstage. PW Insider's report also notes that WWE are waiting to learn the severity of the dislocation, and this will determine how long Morgan will be out of action for. WWE is waiting to learn the severity of the dislocation, which would determine how long Morgan would be out of physical action. If it is a severe dislocation, it could be upwards of 16 weeks before someone is cleared for athletic activity. But again, this is all dependent on the final diagnosis in terms of how severe the dislocation is, and that has not been determined as of this writing. We're told it was being seen as a freak occurrence and there's no heat on anyone. But now has a major match been cancelled. Due to Liv Morgan's injury, there's now concern from fans when it comes to Evolution. Morgan didn't just launch a new program with Io Sky on Raw last night, she also started a feud with Nikki Bella last week. This was likely leading to either a singles match between Morgan and Bella or a tag match which would see the return of Brie Bella. Now due to Morgan's injury, these plans are going to be cancelled with immediate effect. But not only that, it also seems like the tag titles are in danger as well. According to the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE could also be forced to vacate the tag belts. Brian Alvarez mentioned on the show they're going to have to vacate those women's tag team titles now. They also touched upon the recovery timeline, saying if the shoulder's dislocated and you pop it back in, then it could be a long time. It could be not a long time. I guess it depends on how much damage was done when it came out. There are people that their shoulder gets popped out and they get their shoulder put back in rather quickly, they're ready to go again. So I think in a couple of days we'll probably know. Unfortunately, the curse of the Women's Tag Team Championship continues with Liv Morgan being injured. If you look at the history of the belts, there's always one tag partner that has been out with an injury. This was the case for Jade Cargill, it was the case for Sonya Deville, it was also the case for Dakota Kai. Seems like the wrestlers that hold these belts just never get a break with them. We're wishing Liv Morgan a fast and full recovery. But next up, Rhea Ripley breaks character to call out disrespectful fans. Now, while it's always the case when a real-life injury occurs, some fans take things way too far. A certain portion of the fans was celebrating that Liv Morgan was hurt on Raw, and a kayfabe arch-rival Rhea Ripley decided to take to X to call these so-called fans out. PSA, don't celebrate an injury. Disgusting behavior. Don't be like them. Now it goes without saying that this type of behavior is not okay. Additionally, it's also not okay to attack Kairi Sane. Injuries can occur at any time, especially ones such as a shoulder dislocation. Many fans are calling Kairi Sane out for not looking out for Liv Morgan, but what in the world was she supposed to do at the time? Administer first aid? No, just let the referees and WWE staff handle the situation. Next up, Carlito says Triple H was never a fan of him. A former WWE star Carlito has spoken out regarding his recent WWE release. Carlito appeared on Busted Open Radio yesterday, and according to Carlito, the more comedic side of his character was his idea, and he stated that Triple H wasn't a fan of it. I orchestrated that. Some people were complaining they have him as an idiot, but those were all my ideas. I took literally creative as nothing for you, and I made something of it. And I went there and I said, I'm not going to complain. I'm one of the older guys. I'm not going to get prioritized, and I'm not going to get pushed. And Hunter, Triple H is not a fan of Carlito. I think he personally likes me, but I think he was never a big fan of the character. Carlito would also reveal that whilst he wasn't exactly shocked when it came to his WWE release, he does wish he got to finish his storyline with the Judgment Day faction. I wasn't too surprised or too shocked, you know what I mean? I signed for 2 years and it actually went better than I thought it would go. The only thing is I'm a professional, you know what I mean? They could have told me and I would have, okay, at least let me finish up the story for the Judgment Day so they can keep going. You know what I mean? I don't know why do something where do think it's a disrespect to the fans that, you know what I mean, they drop the storyline. Carlito makes a strong case here. To suddenly remove a stable member out of a popular faction makes zero sense, and it would have been welcomed if WWE at least offered a kayfabe explanation as to why Carlito is no longer on WWE television. What's also kind of cool at the same time is that Liv Morgan still has Carlito on her shin pads. Next up, a WWE star to receive a major push. Now it looks set that WWE star Julia will be receiving a major push up on the card on SmackDown. According to a new report from PW Insider, the internal belief in WWE is that Julia will be heavily showcased on the Blue brand in the coming weeks. Julia has firmly set her sights on Zelina Vega and the women's US title, and fans are theorizing that WWE are actually going to commit to crowning Julia as the new US champion. Next up, a future WrestleMania main eventer revealed. An Evolve talent has been so impressive in the eyes of WWE management that they see them as a future WrestleMania main eventer. According to Fightful Select, Kaylee Armstrong has been receiving high marks for her work and she's been considered for a call-up to NXT. An Evolve talent has impressed many in WWE. Fightful Select spoke to sources in WWE that indicated that Kaylee Armstrong has turned heads of late, especially while working the recent Evolve tapings. There were people within the company who gave her high marks as far as saying she could be a future WrestleMania main eventer. Those that we heard from also said that she's already been discussed for a full-on call-up to the NXT roster. It was expected that she should get the call-up while serving as Evolve champion and has already regularly been working NXT live events. According to official records, Armstrong has only had 25 matches, so to be labelled as a future main eventer at WrestleMania with such little experience is a significant nod of approval from WWE. Next up, WWE refusing to bring back a former champion. And WWE has zero plans whatsoever to ever bring back Alberto Del Rio. Body Slam reports that a return for Del Rio isn't being considered at all, and there's been no outreach to Del Rio when it comes to a return. Despite WWE acquiring AAA, it's widely believed that their stance on this won't change. And finally, an iconic WWE character has been retired. And our final story today takes a look at confirmation when it comes to the retirement of an iconic WWE character. Dustin Rhodes took to X yesterday to state that his legendary character known as Goldust is now retired forever. Rhodes stated that he's happy where he's at, which is likely to be a reference to him using his real identity in AEW. Goldust is one of the most celebrated WWE characters of all time, and no doubt Rhodes is a future WWE Hall of Famer. But there you have it, folks, our look at Raw as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.